Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the quiet of the night. Hear the distant hum of the world settling. Imagine the sky above you, not as it is now, but as it was 1,000 years ago. A sky filled with stars, each one a sun burning with its own light. Now imagine those stars beginning to fade, not all at once, but slowly, like a candle burning down to nothing. The light we see tonight left those stars long before our ancestors walked the earth. The stars we love are already dead. Their light travels through the dark, reaching us only after their death. And soon, the last of that light will fade. The universe will grow quiet. The stars will be gone. What will remain? The silence of the void. What does it mean to live in a world that is slowly losing its light? Let us sit with that question for a while. Picture a small village nestled in a valley where the mountains touch the sky. The air is cool and clean, smelling of pine and damp earth. At night, the villagers gather outside their homes. They look up, not with the urgency of city dwellers, but with the calm of people who have always known the stars. Children point to the brightest ones, naming them after stories passed down for generations. The elders speak softly of the constellations, their voices blending with the sound of crickets. The sky is a tapestry of light, a familiar friend. But then, slowly, the patterns change. One star vanishes, then another. Not with a bang, but with a quiet absence. The children stop pointing. The elders fall silent. The villagers begin to notice the gaps, the empty spaces where light used to be. They do not panic. They simply watch. They feel the shift in the air, a subtle change in the way the darkness feels. The stars were not just light above them, they were the rhythm of their lives, the measure of time. Now, that rhythm is slowing. The night becomes deeper, more profound, as if the universe is holding its breath. The fading began in the year 2027, though no one noticed at first. It was a slow thing, like a leaf drifting down from a tree. Astronomers saw it first, in the data they collected from telescopes. They called it the Great Dimming. They did not understand it. The stars were not going supernova, they were simply fading. Each star had its own timeline, its own slow death. Some took centuries, others mere decades. The light from the nearest stars, Proxima Centauri, began to weaken. Then, the stars in the Orion constellation started to disappear from the night sky. People in the villages, the ones far from city lights, saw it first. They saw the constellations change shape, as if the sky was being rewritten. The villagers of the valley, The ones who knew the stars by heart felt it most deeply. They had names for every star, every cluster. Now, the names began to have no meaning. A young girl named Elara, who loved to lie on her family's roof at night, started to count the stars. She counted 100 on her first night. By the time she was 10, she counted 80. At 15, 60. The count grew smaller each year. Her grandmother would sit beside her, holding her hand, saying nothing. They did not speak of the missing stars. They simply watched the sky change. The villagers stopped using the stars to mark the seasons. They turned to clocks, to the sun, to the moon. But the stars had been their first calendar, their first map. Without them, the world felt smaller. The night became a place of absence, not of wonder. The elders began to tell stories of the stars that were stories that felt like memories of a world they had never known. The children asked why the stars were leaving. The adults did not know how to answer. They only held each other tighter at night, feeling the vastness of the empty sky. The stars were not just lights in the sky, they were the proof that we were not alone. Now, that proof was fading. The silence grew heavier. The villagers began to feel the weight of the universe pressing down on them, not as a force of destruction, but as a quiet, inevitable truth. The great dimming affected everything. It began with the stars, but soon, the effect spread through the world. The disappearance of the stars changed the way people lived, the way they thought. In cities, people turned to screens for light, for connection. The night sky was no longer a source of wonder. It was a reminder of loss. People stopped looking up. They looked at their phones instead, at the glow of the screen. The stars had been a constant in human life for thousands of years. They were the first maps, the first calendars, the first stories. Now, they were gone. The effect was not just in the sky, it was in the hearts of people. The villagers in the valley felt it most deeply, but it spread. In the cities, people began to feel a strange loneliness. They had never felt alone before, not with the stars above them. Now, they felt a quiet emptiness, as if the universe had turned its back on them. The scientists tried to explain it. They said it was the natural end of stars, the way all things end. But that did not help. The stars were not just burning out, they were disappearing from the sky. The light they sent was no longer reaching us. The stars were not just dying, they were being erased from the sky. The scientists could not explain why the light was fading so quickly. They said it was a natural process, but it felt like a betrayal. The stars had been our friends, our guides. Now, they were leaving us. The effect was felt in art, in music, in the way people spoke. Songs about the stars became songs of loss. Paintings of the night sky showed empty spaces. People began to write poems about the absence of stars. They wrote about the silence of the void. The villagers in the valley began to plant trees in the fields where they used to look at the stars. The trees were a new kind of light, a new kind of map. They planted them in the shape of constellations, so that when the stars were gone, they would have a map in the earth. The elders taught the children the names of the stars that were gone. They said, "The stars are not gone, they are just sleeping." But the children knew better. They had counted the stars, and they knew the count was smaller. The world began to change in other ways. The animals that had been guided by the stars, the birds that flew by the moon and stars, began to fly differently. The bees that used the stars to find their way home stopped finding their way. The forests became quieter. The rivers ran slower. The world felt slower, as if the universe was taking its time. People began to talk about the stars in the past tense. They said, when the stars were still here. They said, the stars used to light the night. They said, the stars were our friends. The stars were not just light, they were a part of the story of the world. Now, that story was ending. The villagers in the valley began to feel the weight of the silence. The night was no longer a time of wonder, it was a time of waiting. Waiting for the last star to fade. Waiting for the silence to be complete. The stars had been the rhythm of the world. Now, the rhythm was gone. The world felt like it was holding its breath. The elders sat in the dark, feeling the weight of the universe. The children played in the dark, feeling the absence of light. The adults worked in the dark, feeling the loss of direction. The stars had been the map. Without them, the world felt like a place without a story. The world felt like a place that had forgotten how to be. What does it mean to live in a world that is slowly losing its light? The stars were not just lights in the sky. They were the proof that we were not alone. They were the constant in a changing world. Now, that constant is gone. We are left with the silence of the void. The stars were not just for us. They were a part of the universe. A part of the story of the universe. Now, that story is ending. We are left with the question, what does it mean to be human in a universe that is ending? The stars were the first story we told. We named them. We mapped them. We used them to find our way. Now, we have to find our way without them. The stars were the first map. Without them, we have to create a new map. The stars were the first calendar. Without them, we have to create a new time. The stars were the first story. Without them, we have to tell a new story. The stars were the first proof that we were not alone. Without them, we have to find a new way to feel connected. The stars were the rhythm of the world. Without them, the world feels slower, heavier. The stars were the light that guided us. Without them, we feel lost. The stars were the story of the universe. Without them, we feel like the story is ending. But the story is not ending. The story is changing. The stars were the first story. Now, we have to tell a new story. We have to find a new rhythm. We have to find a new map. We have to find a new way to feel connected. The stars were not the end of the story. They were the beginning. Now, we have to begin again. The stars were the proof that the universe was vast and full of wonder. Now, we have to find that wonder in the small things. The stars were the proof that we were part of something larger. Now, we have to find that larger thing in the small things. The stars were the proof that the universe was alive. Now, we have to find that life in the quiet moments. The stars were the proof that we were not alone. Now, we have to find that we are not alone in the silence. The stars were the proof that the universe was beautiful. Now, we have to find that beauty in the quiet. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of light. Now, we have to find that light in the dark. The stars were the proof that the universe was waiting for us to see it. Now, we have to see it without the stars. The stars were the proof that we were part of a story. Now, we have to tell that story without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was alive. Now, we have to feel that life in the quiet. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of wonder. Now, we have to find that wonder in the silence. The stars were the proof that we were not alone. Now, we have to find that we are not alone in the silence. The stars were the proof that the universe was beautiful. Now, we have to find that beauty in the quiet. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of light. Now, we have to find that light in the dark. The stars were the proof that the universe was waiting for us. Now, we have to wait for it without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was alive. Now, we have to live without the stars. The stars were the proof that we were part of a story. Now, we have to be the story. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of wonder. Now, we have to wonder without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was beautiful. Now, we have to be beautiful without the stars. The stars were the proof that we were not alone. Now, we have to be alone without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was alive. Now, we have to live without the stars. The stars were the proof that we were part of a story. Now, we have to be the story. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of light. Now, we have to be the light. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of wonder. Now, we have to be the wonder. The stars were the proof that the universe was beautiful. Now, we have to be the beauty. The stars were the proof that the universe was waiting for us. Now, we have to wait for it without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of stories. Now, we have to tell the story. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of life. Now, we have to live the life. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of love. Now, we have to love without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of hope. Now, we have to hope without the stars. The stars were the proof that the universe was full of light. Now, we have to be the light. But then, something unexpected happened. The stars were not really gone. They were just different. The light from the stars was still there, but it was not reaching us. It was being absorbed, not by the darkness, but by the very fabric of the universe. The universe was not ending, it was changing. The stars were not dying, they were transforming. The light was not fading, it was being folded into something new. The universe was not losing its light, it was gathering its light. The stars were not leaving us, they were becoming something else. The silence was not the end, it was the beginning of something new. The universe was not empty, it was full of something we could not see. The stars were not gone, they were becoming part of the universe in a different way. The universe was not ending, it was evolving. The stars were not dying, they were being reborn. The silence was not the end, it was the quiet before a new song. The universe was not losing its light, it was gathering its light for a new story. The stars were not leaving us, they were becoming the story. So, close your eyes again. Feel the quiet of the night. The sky above you is not empty. It is full of something new. The stars are not gone. They are becoming something else. The silence is not the end. It is the beginning. The universe is not empty. It is full of light we cannot see. We are not alone. We are part of a story that is changing. The stars were the first story. Now, we are the story. The universe is full of wonder. We are the wonder. The universe is full of beauty. We are the beauty. The universe is full of light. We are the light. So, breathe slowly. Feel the quiet. The universe is waiting for us to see it. And when we see it, we will know that the stars were never gone. They were always there, in the silence, in the dark, in the quiet. They were always part of the story. Now, we are part of the story, and the story is not ending. It is just beginning.